Right now, if it started raining and didn't stop for a week, you'd barely notice. You'd close a window, turn on a light. Maybe make something hot to drink and watch the storm through the glass like it's entertainment. Your roof doesn't leak. Your food doesn't run out. Your fire, your heat comes from a wall and never goes out. A week of rain, for you, is a cozy inconvenience, a reason to stay in. Now strip all of that away. No roof except the one you built from branches. No heat except a fire that rain can kill in seconds. No stored food except what you gathered before the clouds came. And no way of knowing if the rain will stop in a day or in 3 weeks. Here's the question that archaeologists have actually wrestled with. When the rain came and stayed for days, sometimes weeks at a time, how did early humans survive it? Not just stay dry, survive, because a long rain wasn't an inconvenience for them. It was one of the most dangerous things that could happen, because the answer reveals something about early humans that almost nobody expects. Let's start with why rain was so deadly. To understand it, you have to throw out the cozy version of rain in your head. For an early human, prolonged rain attacked you from every direction at once. First, there was temperature. A wet human loses body heat dramatically faster than a dry one, up to 25 times faster. Hypothermia doesn't need freezing temperatures. A soaked human in 15-degree weather with wind can die from the cold. So rain wasn't just uncomfortable. For a creature with no waterproof layer, being wet for long enough was potentially fatal. Then there was fire. Fire was everything to early humans. It cooked their food, kept predators away, gave warmth, and provided light. And fire and heavy rain cannot coexist. A downpour could extinguish a fire in seconds, a fire that might have taken enormous effort to start, and that, once gone, could not easily be relit in wet conditions. Lose your fire in a long rain, and you lose your heat, your safety, and your cooking all at once. And then there was food. Heavy rain meant hunting was nearly impossible. Tracks washed away, animals sheltered and went still. Foraging was miserable and low reward. Most plant foods don't suddenly become more available because it's raining, so a long rain meant cold, no fire, and no fresh food, all at the same time. Now you see why a week of rain was a genuine survival event, the kind of thing that could end a small band of humans entirely. So how did they make it through? For a long time, the assumption was simple. They found a cave, huddled inside, and waited it out. And caves did matter. A deep, dry cave was prime real estate, so valuable that humans and predators sometimes fought over the same ones for generations. But here's the problem with the cave story. Caves are rare. Most landscapes early humans lived in didn't have a convenient dry cave whenever the weather turned. And the caves that did exist were often already occupied by other humans, or by animals you very much did not want to share a small space with. So for most of human history, when the rain came, there was no cave to run to. They had to do something else. And this is where it gets interesting, because the evidence suggests early humans didn't just passively endure the rain, they prepared for it. Archaeologists have found that early human shelters were often deliberately built on slightly raised ground, angled away from prevailing winds, with sleeping areas kept off the wet floor. These weren't random spots, they were chosen. It means early humans were reading the landscape and the weather, anticipating where water would pool, where wind would hit, where the ground would stay driest. That's planning. That's foresight. That's a creature thinking ahead about a problem that hasn't arrived yet. And the shelters themselves were more sophisticated than we tend to imagine. Evidence from sites across the world points to humans building frameworks of branches, layered with leaves, grass, animal hides, and bark. Materials chosen specifically because they shed water. In some regions, early humans dug shallow trenches around their shelters, primitive drainage, redirecting rainwater away from where they slept. Think about what that means. A human, hundreds of thousands of years ago, looking at the ground and understanding, if I dig here, the water goes there, instead of under me. That is not instinct, that is engineering. But the single most important thing they did had nothing to do with shelter design at all. It was the fire. Protecting fire from rain may have been one of the most critical survival skills early humans ever developed. They learned to bring fire inside their shelters, carefully, in a controlled way, positioned where smoke could escape but rain couldn't reach. They learned to keep dry tinder and fuel in reserve, stored before the rain came, so a fire could be rebuilt even after days of wet weather. Some evidence suggests they learned to transport fire, carrying smoldering embers and protective materials, so that even if one fire died, the flame itself never fully went out. A band of humans that could keep a fire alive through a week of rain had a staggering advantage over one that couldn't. Warmth, cooked food, safety, light. The difference between enduring the rain and dying in it, and there's one more piece, maybe the most human one of all. What do you actually do, hour after hour trapped under a shelter while the rain hammers down outside? For days, you can't hunt, you can't travel, you can't forage much, you're stuck in a small space with the same handful of people for a very long time. And anthropologists believe this is one of the answers to a question you might never have thought to ask. When did humans start telling stories? Because this, the long enforced stillness of a rainy stretch, may have been exactly when story and ritual and teaching and art had room to grow. When you can't do anything physical, you talk, you pass on knowledge. You tell the young ones how the hunt works, where the water is, what your parents taught you. You make plans. You imagine, you explain the world to each other. Some researchers think these enforced pauses, bad weather, long nights, the times when survival meant sitting still together, were quietly some of the most important hours in human development. Not the dramatic hunts, the waiting. The rain didn't just test early humans. It may have helped make them human. So let's go back to the question. When the rain came and stayed for days, what did early humans do? They didn't just cower and hope. They read the land and built on high ground. They engineered shelters that shed water and dug channels to drain it. They guarded their fire like the lifeline it was, and learned to carry the flame through the storm. And huddled together in the long, wet dark, with nothing to do but wait, they talked, and in that talking, passed down the knowledge and stories that built everything that came after. A week of rain, for you, is a cozy excuse to stay in, a reason to watch the storm through the glass. For them, it was a test. One they passed not with strength or speed or claws, but with foresight, cooperation, and a fire they refused to let die. The same fire, the same planning, the same huddling together against the dark and the cold. It's all still in you. Every time the rain comes down and you feel that quiet pull to stay inside, stay warm, and stay close to the people you care about, that's not new. That's 100,000 years old.